Hello everyone. So I'm going to be talking about today the FX series processors. They've always been more of like a hated there's a lot of controversy, I guess, a lot of hate toward this chip. This is strange. So I must have picked some of the better chips. I've never had any issues, but I've heard there were a lot of temperature problems and other things, but this is what I've run into as far as the chips having some difficulty. So I started out in 2012, 2013, I believe. I bought a FX 4130. This was a black edition chip, very nice chip, but I thought it was good. It was had a base of 3.8 gigahertz with a boost of I believe 4. Now, this was a quad core, so this is where I think the problem was. I think the problem with this chip was that it was a quad core. Um, I think it was a good chip overall, in my opinion. Uh, what is it? I believe I overclocked it. It was unlocked out of the box. This was nice. The nice thing about it. My first time building, so it was really easy. Popped it in, no problems. I believe I overclocked it to about. I was having it sit at 4.8, 4.9. This was 2013. This is probably like higher clocks than most of the chips I've owned for this, especially. Well, this time I only own the one chip, but even years to come, even up to 2018, I don't think I really had a chip that um, hit 4.8, 4.9, and it was running idle at like um, it's running idle at around 60. No, I should say. Well, the temperature sensors always said 0, so this was a problem. But it wasn't getting hot. That's the crazy thing. As far as I knew, I think I read about. Gotta say 30C. Yeah, it ran about 30C, which isn't too bad on idle. Um, but basically, it was a good chip, and I didn't have any issues with it. To see everyone else have the problem is crazy. It was on. I'm literally telling you, it was 4.8 gigahertz. This was an overclock I did to it. So it ran good. So once I was finished using it, I got it for $109, I think. I used it for a year or so. Once I was finished using it, I gave it to a buddy, and for the longest time, he had it clocked pretty high too. It's my buddy Scotty, Scotty Lift, but he had it overclocked at around the same for between 4.6, 4.8. I'm sure he got it even higher than that, but stable. It was stable at this, and the temperatures were good as far as we knew. As far as the temperature sensors were showing us, it was kind of like random, but most of the time it was at 30C, so this is good. Um, but I gave it to him, and he had no issues with it. Uh, just recently, I had a FX 4100. Now, the FX 4130 and the 4100, I don't know what it is about it. The 4130 just feels so much better, so much better. I had it in one of my rigs. I get a bunch of used rigs really cheap online. I get lucky. So the Black Edition 4130 was a good chip. Right now it's going for like under 30, which I would never imagine. So I also have. This is 2021. I also have FX 6300. Now this was a good chip too. This was a 6-core chip. What I liked about it is that it had 6 core. I mean, it's a little bit more cores than the 4130. Couldn't overclock as high, but it was still a good chip. And overall, to today's standards, it's not what you want. Definitely not. Most likely, depending on what you do. I had, now this is another one I came across. It was a FX 8130, or no, I'm wrong. Excuse me, just a moment. Okay, so it was the FX 8120E. 8120E, that's what it was. Now, I didn't like these too much. This one I got because I wanted to be more efficient. 8120E model. Yep, here it is. I got it for cheap, and it's a good chip. So here's where the problem came in. It's an 8 core, and it's a low voltage, low energy, like power consumption type deal for the chip itself. Um, Personally, this was when I started to dislike the FX series. Normally, I would like it. The FX 4130 was great. The FX 6300 was good, not as good, but good. And the FX 6350 was like, at the time, a sweet spot. You wanted the FX 6350 at the time. My buddy had it. It was definitely a good chip, and for like $20 more too. 2 extra cores. It's a good deal. Now it's dirt cheap as well. But now the 8120E. This is what I came in. Well, this is the problem that I came across. I've never been that great at overclocking in general, so take this with like a grain of sand, etc., grain of salt. I try to overclock it, nothing, won't budge at all. Can't get it to overclock one bit, and I think it had probably something to do with the energy settings, but otherwise the performance wasn't as good as expected. Definitely not what I expected out of it, and I was kind of upset. I then went to the FX 8350. This is where a lot of people completely dislike this chip, and I don't understand where the hatred came from. But this was a solid chip. Everyone wanted it, but yeah, everyone wanted it. Everyone bought it. It was popular, and I even bought it. I had no complaints, and it was a good chip. They were all, I'd say all of them were pretty good, except the FX 8120. This is where I noticed the main issues. Otherwise, for the 4 core, it felt like a 4 core. The 6 core did amazing, and then the 8 core 8350 did even better. So let me know what you think. Let me hear your guys' side of the story. What do you guys think about the FX series? I definitely know it ran hot and had its issues. I'm gonna say there was probably more driver issues that I didn't realize, most likely, that a lot of the viewers and the consumers may have noticed. Let me know what you've seen throughout your time using these chips, because I know there was better chips on the AM3 Plus. I know that definitely. Friggin' the Phenom, great chips. I know my buddy had a Phenom 965. It was a good chip, but there was oddball chips too. This is why I just loved looking through all these old chips. They had like the Athlon 3 core. That might have been on the AM3 or the AM2, but it's worth looking into all these olden chips. It's just amazing how far they've gotten since the FX series too. And then let's not talk about the FM2 series, FM2 Plus. It's crazy. The FX series can get there's so much hatred toward it. But then you got the FM2 Plus. What were they doing? You know, I don't know what they were doing. But anyways, it was a good start to APUs. I'll say that much. It was a good start. Um, it's definitely interesting to see. And then um, only a year or two, only a few years after FM2 Plus, like, was kind of overshadowed, being that yeah, only a few years after FM2 Plus kind of like was getting older and stuff, I would see motherboards at Micro Center for like $20, $30. So they were a good option for a cheap rig too. And then you would have like dual graphics where you use like a card, but it had to be a specified card to use with the FM2 chip, which, oh, that was a pain. That was a pain. But you know, um, nowadays that wouldn't be worth your time if you're trying to play new titles. But yeah, the AM3 Plus was, in my opinion, a good platform, and the AM4 Plus kind of just blew everyone away, in my opinion. So they did such a good job, and I just hope to see more from AMD. And I know they're not going to bring the FX series back, most likely, but shoot, I'd be one of them. I'd be one of the people buying if it came back. Risen's great though. I got every like 6 months, if they come out with a new one, I buy a new one. I bought the so I started with the Risen 3 1600. I went to the Risen 5 16, Risen 5 26. Then I went to Risen 5 3600, a Risen 5 3600 XT, and now I'm at the Risen 7 5700. Yeah, the Risen 7 5700G. So if you want any information about any of these, let me know. I could tell you a little bit about them. Overall, all the chips were good, and I had no issues. So thank you for watching. Again, my links to Robinhood and First Trade will be at the bottom. Please feel free to use them if you want to start a new stock account. Also, thank you again. Please like and subscribe. I'll talk to you all soon.